You might be a reseller.
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 Then you might be a reseller.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Commonwealth cabin. I want to say two things before we watch this video here today. First, I want to say if you haven't seen the part 1 to this, you might be a reseller. I'm going to link it right here. I'm going to link it in the description. I'm going to put it in the comments. Go ahead and go back to that video, watch that first, and then come back over here and watch this one. Second thing I want to say is I want to give a giant thank you to everybody who contributed to this video. There are so many YouTube resellers in this video. And thank you all for watching this today. I'm flattered that y'all are here. I hope you enjoy it, and let me know at the end what you think by leaving a comment below and leaving a few of the you might be a reseller comments that you can think of below in the comments. So thanks so much. Let's get to it.
If you have ever cut up your furniture to use it as eBay packing material. I got my butcher knife. I'm going to cut all this foam out of it and use it for my eBay packing. You might be a reseller.
If you get excited about your lunch break at work, not because you're hungry, but because you know you can squeeze in 3 listings, you might be a reseller.
If you not only have Yard Sale Treasure Map installed on your phone, but you check it on Monday, just in case, you might be a reseller.
You might be a reseller if.
How much can you get for this on eBay? How much can I get for this on eBay? How much can I get for this on eBay? How much can I get for this on eBay?
Bruh. If your kids ask how much they can get everything for on eBay.
Straight up. If in a general conversation you mention you have a death pile and it makes the other person so nervous they want to call the police, you might be a reseller.
If you wake up in the morning and the very first thing you do is check your phone to see how the sales were last night, you might be a reseller.
You might be a reseller if you have to take a minivan to an estate sale.
You might be a reseller if you tell your granddaughter before she sits on Santa's lap not to forget to ask for the Rolo printer.
When you're on vacation and you're still going to garage sales, you might be a reseller.
If it took you longer to choose a name for your eBay room than it did your firstborn child, you might be a reseller.
If a coworker asks you if you want their air pillows from a package they just received, you might be a reseller.
If you happen to own a styrofoam head, you might be a reseller.
What? No, you can't be in the video. Kevin asked for humans, and you're a mannequin. So no, not this time. If the thought of somebody throwing away used bubble wrap into a dumpster brings a tear to your eye, well, you might be a reseller.
You might be a reseller if your Saturday date is to the yard sales.
Truth.
If you've read every word of the fall seller update, you might be a reseller.
Now, if your clothes start to match your IKEA bags, then my friend, you might be a reseller.
What's going on? It's your boy Tim from Over the Years, and you might be a reseller if you have a storage unit that looks like this. Oh!
You might be a reseller if you find awesome collectibles like this for pennies on the dollar and allow your wife to decorate the entire house with her favorite stuff.
If you sold your child's Elf on the Shelf to get enough money to buy an Enaman for the eBay room, you might be. Shame on you.
If wrapping packages once a year at Christmas time seems like a daunting task, but wrapping packages every day to take to the post office sounds exciting, you might be a reseller. Hey, where did that little guy come from?
If your YouTube subscription list is filled with nothing but pickers, flippers, treasures, hunters, and a tornado, you might be a reseller.
If you're proud to wear a top that retails new for $50 and you only paid 50 cents,
you might be a reseller.
If the highlight of your day is finding old underwear at a thrift store, then you might be a reseller.
If having a custom-built shipping center is on your bucket list, you might be a reseller.
When you get to the flea market and the sun hasn't even risen yet, you might be a reseller. Always have to be on the hunt for that treasure.
If you checked yard sale treasure map on Monday, but it's Tuesday and you figure, you never know, you might be a reseller.
If your 3-year-old invites the neighborhood kids over for a rousing game of yard sale, you might be a reseller.
Make a pile.
If you asked Santa Claus for IKEA bags for Christmas, you might be a reseller.
You might be a reseller if you have your own box collection. That's your full-time job. You never know what you're going to need.
If you ask perfect strangers if they have any video games they want to sell, you might be a reseller.
If you wake up early on the weekends to rummage through people's unwanted belongings, then you might be a reseller.
If you have a collection of these or these, you might be a reseller.
You might be a reseller if you dumpster dive for boxes.
If you sneak out in your garage late at night when everyone in your house has gone to bed to play with action figures, you might be a reseller.
If your laundry room doesn't have a washer or a dryer, but it has all your shipping supplies, you just might be a reseller.
Buffalo Picker here. You know you might be a reseller when you're constantly checking brick seats for deals.
If the first thing you do when you wake up on a Thursday morning is check yard sale treasure map, you might be a reseller.
If the whole back of your mail truck is filled with eBay boxes, you might be a reseller. Let's go!
If you can't wait until Christmas because of the thought of all the free shipping supplies, you might be a reseller.
So you might be a reseller if you clean your room on Thursday night and by Saturday evening it looks like this.
Oh my gosh.
If you run your own big cartel store, your dad might be a reseller.
If your bad buys end up part of your home decor, you might be a reseller.
If you're 7 years old and you're selling your own toys on eBay, you might be a reseller.
If you show up to a estate sale 9 hours early and sleep overnight in your SUV, you may be a reseller.
You may be a Poshmark reseller if you have carpal tunnel in your 20s from sharing your Poshmark closet all day long.
If Kevin, the Commonwealth Picker, reaches out to you on Instagram and asks you if you would be interested in doing a 10 to 15 second video for his YouTube channel, you might be a reseller.
If you've ever woken up at the butt crack of dawn to go stand in line for 2.5 hours at an Amazon bin store, you might be a reseller.
You might be a reseller if
your home office dress code is pants optional.
Man.
If you know who Dallas Wolford, Austin Holbert, and Tanya Cupp are, you might be a reseller. And you might also have watched way too many YouTube resellers during the lockdown.
You know you're a reseller if you get just as excited when someone gives you a cardboard box as you were opening up presents on Christmas morning. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I always wanted a box just this size. Thanks so much.
You might be a reseller if you're out in January looking for yard sales. Right, Cap Guy? That's right, JT.
When you're researching Airbnbs to go on vacation and your #1 criteria is how close you are to a Goodwill, you might be a reseller.
If you get paid to play video games, your dad might be a reseller.
If your children know this song by heart,
I gotta be the first one there, not the last one there. Gotta be the first one there.
you might be a reseller. If you know who every single person in this video is, you are definitely a reseller. And you watch way too much YouTube, or your name might be Danny May.